Hey, Big Mike. Today we're gonna do a questions and answers to the step-by-step process. I'm here today with Greg from Greg's Transportation. The first question we have is,
Hey, how's everybody doing?
oh yeah, the first question we're gonna start with is this question, Greg. Uh, I was advised by my mentor to start with private clients and allow my clientele to build my non-emergency transportation service. I have taken the first step in getting a DBA and EIN to, let's see what else he says here, to file and deliver them to several independent living facilities, dialysis, and therapy clinics. I have a company, social media. How else can I push forward? I also purchased a 2019 SUV to start my fleet. Now, I'd like to ask, to start a medical process, which has been difficult for me. You understand the question?
So yeah, so what we're doing is, from the last video, we're gonna do a Q&A because a lot of people left questions for us to answer. So Mike here, he asked me to come back on and just try to answer some questions, and then she had some actually real good questions. So go back to the question, Mike. Go back to the question again.
The highlight.
Yeah, so I could see it. So I could see it.
Here.
Okay, so you're doing private clientele, and what you need to do, you're doing private clientele, and that's good, but you don't have the actual Medicaid contract, so you're not actually a non-emergency medical transport yet. You're not going to know how the industry is, how much money, how much demand it is, how much competition, how much you can make with one car without actually getting the contracts, the Medicaid contract. Whatever other healthcare insurances are in your city. So, I'm in a different city than you, so every city is a little bit different. But what you need to do is call Medicaid in your city, and once you could start the process with your DBA and your EIN number, which is your tax ID number. Once you get that set up in the Medicaid in your city, once you get listed or registered, you can start asking them questions in enrollment when you're doing the application. A lot of times then they're going to tell you so much, but what you need to do is find out what brokers are in your city. The brokers are, once you get your contract with Medicaid, they're going to set you up with whatever dispatch system they have in that city, which is also named brokers. It could be Logisticare, it could be MTM. I don't know. Here we have one particular, and we have healthcare insurances that give us trips once we have a contract with them. So you need to find out who's a broker in your city. You could Google that. Google the brokers for non-emergency medical transportation in your city, and see if you can call them and talk to them. Once you're beginning stage of registering with Medicaid, and you started the system, you can start without a car, because as long as you get the DBA and your tax ID number, which is your EIN number, and you gave them your name and all the other information that you can without getting the actual car and all that. And you're in the system, at that point you can start asking them questions and enrollment. But another thing you could do is just in your city, when you see somebody who's in transportation, just ask them. Just straight up ask them. Call some of the companies and see if they'll give you basic questions. Because what you need to find out is, with the brokers, can you start off with one car? Because some brokers, you need 5 cars, you need 10 cars to start with them. Because what they used to do is, when non-emergency medical transportation, that program started, the brokers would literally go to the taxis that already had 10, 15 cars. You know what I mean? And they were like, okay, you need 5 cars to start. You know, you already got commercial insurance and livery plates or taxi plates, and you got a taxi company, so you're already ready to go, set up. You got 5 cars. Let's get the ball rolling. So that's what the non-emergency medical Medicaid used to do, and go up to them, and the brokers did, because they had 5 cars, so that was a requirement. But in some cities, you could start off with 1 car. So that's the main thing you need to figure out. And once you start with your 1 car, keep doing what you're doing. You got private clientele going to dialysis centers, the retirement homes, addiction centers, or whatever. So you need to keep a database of all those different people, or while you're going there, you go to the dialysis center, the addiction centers, you go to whoever's in charge of transportation, establish a relationship with them, tell them your plans, your future plans, that you're going to start this business, and that the ball's going to start on such and such date. But you keep that database so that once you get the contract, you can just start that relationship with them, start doing business with them. So you're on the ball, you're doing good. But in order to, actually get into the medical field, transportation, you need to have the contracts. And you also need to find out what private health insurance companies have their own transportation department where they can send you trips also. And the only way is, it's difficult. People don't like to give information. You know how that is. But, you see people out there that are doing medical transportation, drivers, some of them want to talk. They just ask them, people like to talk about what they do. Call the different companies, or call a different city that they don't see you as a threat, like a city that's near your city, and then ask them, I got these questions, I want to go. That's what I did. I called somebody in a different, 5 hours away, and she was the only one that talked to me because I'm 5 hours away from her. And she was giving me info on what I needed to do, because I'm in New York, I'm all the way in Rochester, and she was in Albany, and she was the only one that talked to me. Nobody in my city really talked to me when I first started. So that's what you need to do. But whoever wrote this question is doing a good job. So what's the next question?
Okay, we got another question. It says, hey, my man, good video. This pertains to delivery plates. How do you get delivery plates, and what's the purpose does that serve?
Okay. Yeah. So once you get delivery plates, is basically like taxi plates. Every city is different. But you have to get commercial insurance on your vehicle. A lot of times the requirement is that the car can't be 10 years or older. And once you get you have to find an insurance company that gives commercial insurance for non-emergency medical transportation. Once you have that policy, then you go to DMV to get livery plates or taxi. So the purpose behind livery plates is that's what goes along for delivering people with taxi or non-emergency medical transportation. And in my state, you can go all through New York State with those livery plates, and have the authority to do so by motor vehicles. And also, the commercial insurance is giving you a lot of coverage, for accidents, whatever things may happen while you're driving. Those people are covered, so that's why, because you're dealing with commercial, you're dealing with business, you're dealing with sick people, and you need that coverage. And that's the first thing that, one of the first things that, the most serious thing that Medicaid is going to look at in order to give you that contract. Do you have commercial insurance, and do you have delivery plates or the taxi plates to carry those people from A to B?
Okay, good answer. Okay, another question here, pertaining to your vehicle. Does your vehicle have to come equipped with special things like wheelchair lift, etc., or can you just start with a car?
Yeah. So you can start with a car, and that is what's considered livery or taxi. So, but wheelchair is a whole different industry. I mean, you still got to get your Medicaid contract. I mean, here in New York State, you got to get a contract for livery and taxi. And if you want to upgrade to wheelchair, you got to get another contract because it's under a different category. And you got to pass a DOT. Your vehicle has to pass a DOT. You got to get a certain level of insurance on it. So it's kind of like a whole different industry. You got to look at it like that. And some Medicaid gets them as they're kind of like two contracts over here. But it's two different things. But you can start off with just a vehicle, and it would be under the category of livery or taxi.
Okay. Could you get into the what is it? EMEDNY.org? Could you give them some information on that?
Yeah. Well, that's Medicaid. That's a Medicaid website in New York State. So he was asking a question about California. So every state, there's Medicaid and there's a website, and you need to get on that website and get the manual for non-emergency medical transportation, and they're breaking down everything that you need, and also for the application process, they're on that website. They're breaking down all of the steps in the applications that you need to fill out, and so every city is a little bit different, but I know New York State, so emani.org. You go on there, you go into manuals, and they have a manual for non-emergency medical transportation and for wheelchair vans. So they kind of break down everything you need and what are all the rules. And so that really helps you understand, the beginning stages of what you need to do and what's the requirements.
Okay, here's another question. Hi, do I have to lease office space first before starting all the paperwork and application?
No, you can start off at your home office. You can start off with your home office.
Okay. And then I got one here. Can you have old felonies?
Every city is different. Every city is different. I believe in New York, you have, as long as you don't have any Medicaid fraud, and your felony is 5 years old, I believe that's the process. But see, you guys have all these different questions. And what you can do is you can call Medicaid and go to enrollment and ask them these questions. And if they won't answer the questions until you get a DBA and an EIN, so you should just simply get a DBA and an EIN, which is only like, $20 to get that started. And then once you put the application in, that gets the ball rolling with getting the application in. And then once you get that in and get the ball rolling, even though you may not go through with it completely, at least you can call and ask some questions because you are in the system in your city. Because every city has a different procedure, a different way of doing things, and that's going to give you access to the info you need to get the ball rolling, or to know whether I don't really want to do this or I want to do it.
Okay, could you tell them about the contacting brokers we got here?
Yeah. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, every city has different brokers, which is the broker is like the dispatch company that Medicaid uses in that city. So it may be like Logisticare or MTM. So your best thing for you to do is to Google brokers for non-emergency medical transportation in your city. Try to call them, ask them, what's the procedures? Can you start off with one car? Ask them whatever questions you need. But the brokers are the people that send you the trips. So let's say, for instance, you had your Medicaid contract, and so what happens is you get your Medicaid contract. That means you got your authority from Medicaid to get paid to do trips and get paid through Medicaid. They're going to send you to the broker in your city. Then you get a contract with them. They're going to set you up on a certain account system. That way they throw you trips. And what happens is you become a transporter for that broker through Medicaid. And that's when you start advertising. When you want to advertise, you go, if you want to use my company, my company is named, whatever, transportation, call this broker, 1-800, boom, 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 and request whatever your company name is. So you got to figure out, who's the brokers in your city, which is the dispatch system, how many cars they require for you to get a contract with them, to work with them, or, can you start with one, or you need 5? What's the deal? So you need to find out what's going on in your city.
Okay, I got an interesting question here. Hi, please address the breakdown of the startup fees, expenses needed. Is $5,000 good enough to start the business? Application fee, vehicle costs, insurance, cost hitting fees, of any, etc. That's what it says.
Well, if he already has the car, then he has 5 G's. That should be more than enough to get a down payment on the insurance. The only thing is, you got to find out what's going on in the city, because you get your Medicaid contract, the broker, how many cars do you need to be working with them? You need 1 car or you need 5? So if you need 5, you need insurance on all 5. But if the broker is like, you only need 1, then you could, 5 G's is enough to get the insurance started. Or else you could get private clientele, just clientele that's just paying out of pocket. If you're not getting the contract, you're not trying to deal with brokers. There was another question somebody asked: Can we work without the brokers? You can. Private clientele. You got the insurance, delivery plates, and you set up a fee to take people from the retirement homes or from Dialysis Center, from addiction centers, to their appointments. You can, if you find the clientele to do it, it'll work out for you.
Okay, this one is this guy here. It says, "Thank you for the information. I have been on the side of fear too long. I'm ready to start my journey." It sounds like procrastination.
Yeah.
Could you speak on that?
Yeah, we talked about this in the last video. But you gotta overcome any fear and do that. Do the work to get that initial investment in the beginning. Because it's gonna be difficult in the beginning. Always, that's the most difficult phase of starting a business, in the beginning.
I remember you talking about getting off the plantation.
Yeah. So, but
picking cotton.
Right now they got so many, and we talked about this in the last video, they got so many apps out there that you can compensate, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub. You can compensate and do that until you build your clientele. Like if you have medical transportation, or you want to transport people from A to B, so you can be doing, trying to get that contract, your Medicaid contract, and meanwhile, when you don't have work, deal with these apps, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, and you're making money to pay for everything. But at the same time, you're setting yourself free from your job.
Yeah, you got to get off the plantation. We didn't pick cotton, but we was picking sugar cane. And procrastination, once you get over that, you just got to jump in. You got to take that step. Let's see here. It says here, 1099 independent contractors. Okay, they're asking about the 1099. How do you utilize the independent contractors?
Yeah, 1099 is the tax bracket for independent contractors, and so basically you're not under W-2. You're under 1099, and what happens is that's the bracket you're going to use for your taxes. So you would have to talk to your financial man, and there's a lot of write-offs in that, in the sense where write-offs on mileage, if you're a company, and it gives you a lot of independence.
Oh, okay, this one is interesting. Me and my wife are in the process of starting a non-emergency medical transportation business in Louisiana. As of now, I'm trying not to get frustrated with the paperwork process. I was wondering, do they have companies out there that will help set the company up? We have 4 kids. and we really want this bad. But I could really use some guidance as to what I'm doing, trying to get the business set up. We already have the license and EIN number.
He has a LLC.
LLC.
In the
Okay.
EIN number. Yeah, I mean,
They're on the right
yeah,
track.
yeah. You can find somebody to help you, but if you already have your LLC and your EIN number, that's pretty much the bulk of what you need. So what I would do is get all the applications that you need to get the contract from Medicaid, and once you're doing it, every time you have a question, you call them, call enrollment and ask them, are you doing this wrong? Did you do this correctly? Plus, just send in the paperwork. Just send it in. What they're gonna do is they're gonna send you a list of what you need to correct, and every time you make an error, they're gonna send you a list of what needs to be correct. You correct it as best as possible. By the end, you're gonna have everything corrected, and you're gonna finally get through. So I wouldn't get so boggled down with trying to do everything so perfectly. You're gonna make mistakes, and but what they do is they send you a list of what you need to correct, and you can call them and ask them what you did wrong, because they have on file what you did wrong, and just take it like that. In the beginning, it's gonna be a couple months before you get in. The less mistakes, the faster. The more mistakes takes a little longer, but you eventually get in if you can't find nobody to help you.
Okay. It says, is the money good? Is it good money? That's the question.
Yeah, he got to the point. Yeah. So what happens is, Medicaid pays you by a certain rate, and a lot of times it's like, it depends on where you at. Like if you in a town or city where there's a big demand, and you're getting 14, 15 trips, 18 trips on one car, and it's so busy, you need to get other cars. Yeah, so it could be very lucrative. Also, when you have trips, they're paying you by the mile. So when you have trips that you're going to another town to pick somebody up 50 minutes away, so that's about 40 miles. So round trip, that's 80 miles, and they're paying you a certain rate. You know what I mean? Basically, you probably could be making $40 an hour, because those trips average out to that, especially if you got them back to back. You know what I mean? I mean, a long trip like that may be, it averages out to $40-50 an hour. And then when you got small trips, they average it, you making $25 an hour, or you get paid by the mile, but that's what it averages out to, the smaller trips. So yeah, and that all adds up. And then if you start off with one, but the demand in your city is for you to have 3 and 4, and you start paying people, minimum wage to drive those cars for you, yeah, you making profit. And then if you could upscale to wheelchair, you going definitely, you making money.
You're gonna be the man. Okay, this guy here, I appreciate the info. I'm in New York State, and I'm looking to start a company, but I'm stuck on the transportation request form. I don't have a vehicle yet, so what do I put down? My own personal car? That's the question. He's stuck on request form, the transportation request form. He doesn't have a vehicle yet.
Yeah, well,
he has a personal car.
Yeah, we answered the question and what he needs to do. But yeah, your vehicle has to be like 10 years and up. So we're in 2019. So you need at least a 2009, like a Chevy Impala. You can't use any trucks, like pickup trucks. It has to be like a sedan. So as long as it's a 2009, you could get commercial insurance on it and livery plates, and then you'll be able to get the contract. But you can start the contract. When we said this, you can start to get the Medicaid contract without the car. But eventually, by the end, for them to finalize and give you the Medicaid contract, you have to have the car, and it has to have insurance on it, commercial insurance, and livery plates. So yeah, you can't start with one car, in New York. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Let's see what
New
else.
York City is a little different. I don't always know, but New York State, upstate, and you know, Catskill and up. In New York City is a little different, so I don't always know. But you got to call Medicaid and find out. They'll answer your questions.
Anything else you want to add, Greg?
Yeah, man, it's difficult in the beginning, but it's not as hard as most people think. You know what I mean? Once you get the contract, and you know you got your billing company do your billing, and you're getting those trips, you're already in the system. The paperwork is not as, because it's already all set in stone. The paperwork is there. You know what I mean? It's all. After that point, you're gonna be driving more, doing a little bit of paperwork, and it's a lot more simpler from there. But in the beginning, it's just the complication of the paperwork and figuring out this, and what you need. You get frustrated, but once you pass that stage, you're gonna be driving, making money, and you know, figuring out how to grow. How many, you know, should I get another car? So, you know, that first initial stage, that frustration of the paperwork, and then once you pass that, you good. You start making the money, and you get better and better with the paperwork. Like I do my billing, and the paperwork, or when I have to redo something with Medicaid, like renew something, it's so much easier because I already passed that first stage. So you pass that first stage, it's gonna be a lot more easier. You get better and better at it because of the practice. You don't even have to do it as much. You don't have to think as much because you already did it 100 times. You know what I mean? Or as the company grows, you can get an administrator to help you. You know, so yeah, you guys just pass that first stage, push. Once you pass that, you get to the next phase. You're not even thinking about that frustration. You know, you guys are good.
Also, I just want to remind you, there was a question here about trade lines. Business credit is key. If you gotta establish an entity, okay? Get your LLC, your S corp, your C corp. I don't recommend the partnerships, but once you buy, let's say from a vendor, it'll report. That'll be your first trade line, and you know, it's a process you got to get to. But once you get to and you start getting those big pops, those big credit cards, you're gonna have a lot of leverage, and you're gonna be able to jump into the industry and take off. I'm talking about making money.
Well, and what happens too when you first start off, and you getting, your city may be popping with trips. Remember, you're gonna need that extra cash for gas, because you're gonna be spending a certain amount of gas every day, depending on how much trips you got. So you're gonna need that money, and then you're gonna need extra cash for emergencies, like if the car needs to get towed or repairs. You know what I mean? Whatever, eating lunch. So you need that extra cash to start the business off, especially for gas and for repairs. Because if the car shuts down, you got one car, you know what I'm saying? They're going to keep sending you the same clients. The same clients are going to want you to service them. And if you tell them, well, my car is down, I don't have no one else to pick you, they're going to just switch over to another company. So you want to always have that extra money for, unexpected things to come in gas. So yeah, he's right. So, having business credit and having business credit gas card, or even business, money on that credit card just in case emergency is that's for any business. That's not just medical transportation. That's for any business, having that capital to back you up until you start making profit. Yeah.
Business credit is king. Okay. You could do a lot with it, and you don't have to worry about finances because you got a cash flow. You got a line of credit. Yeah. So that's you won't have to be stressed out about that. You can just focus on your business and making that money. Well, I want to.
And he's helping me. You should check out his website and get his course, because he's helping me get my business credit. And I'm like halfway through, right, Mike? I mean, I got like a lot of the steps, and they're already sending me offers for loans, business loans, but I'm not taking them is I'm waiting until I finish the whole process, and they're gonna start giving me offers for business credit. You know, where I got the credit on a card and I can use it if I want to and if I don't want to. So he's been helping me. It's a bit of a process. I have procrastinated a little bit with the steps, but yo, I'm halfway there. So when I get there, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be happy. But you know, that's definitely a safe zone, safe net for any business credit.
Okay, I want to thank everybody who liked and shared the video, who made comments. I'm extremely busy. He's extremely busy, but we will try to answer your questions. And you know, like and share and comment. That's it for now. Big Mike and Greg from Greg Transportation. The links are below the video. Just click on the link. It'll take you to the website, and it's more valuable information on the website. So that's it for now. Big Mike, I'm out. Peace.
Right, peace.
Good shot.